Welcome back. Janelle Perez is in one of the most competitive state Senate races in Florida. It is an open seat, and Republicans have unloaded a barrage of negative ads against her. I caught up with Perez last week.
I am very confident and proud of the campaign that we've been running so far. We have stayed on message. I am out there. I am talking to voters. And we are connecting with the voters of this community because we're actually talking about the issues that every Floridian is facing, especially the ones in Senate District 38.
So let's talk about that. When you say staying on message and talking about the issues, what are some of those issues?
So for me in this district, the top priority and the number one thing that I'm hearing at the door is what we spoke about last time: affordability. Miami and our community, people are struggling. Our homeowners insurance continues to go up. The problems keep getting worse. And now with Hurricane Ian, they're going to get much, much worse than they are. Affordability is a huge problem. It's become almost impossible for our workforce to be able to live in Miami. And that's something that across the board, it doesn't matter if I'm talking to people in Key Biscayne on the waterfront homes, or if it is that I'm talking to the folks in West Perrine or Goulds. We are all seeing the same problem, and it's affecting every single one of us.
So let's talk solutions. Then what is your recipe for trying to counter some of that, make South Florida more affordable?
Well, the last time we spoke, I talked about my concerns with Medicaid and bringing the cost of healthcare down. I mean, for me, one of the top issues that I want to do is address the homeowners insurance crisis. And there are actual things that can be done. First and foremost, the Florida legislature had plenty of time to address these issues in the last legislative session and during the special session. Unfortunately, the only ones that they bailed out were the insurance companies, who now we've seen, I think 6 of them have taken our taxpayer dollars and fled the state. I think that's absolutely wrong. And it sounds like we were on the wrong side of a bargaining deal in that one. If you are going to take our taxpayer dollars and you are going to get bailed out, then you need to promise to Floridians that you are going to stay in this state for at least 10 years. If not, give us our money back.
Well, let me ask you this, because one of the issues that keeps coming up, and often this becomes an issue that Democrats tend to sidestep, but, you know, a lot of analysts have looked at this and said that the problem in Florida is too much litigation, that we have maybe 8 or 9% of the roof claims in the country, and yet we have upwards of 80 to 90% of the litigation, of the lawsuits that are actually brought against insurance companies. And so therefore, the cost of litigation, the fact that insurance companies know they're going to be sued if they do business in Florida, makes it unattractive, and so therefore less competition and rates go up. Are you willing, because Democrats in the past have not been very willing to go look at tort reform to limit the amount of exposure insurance companies would have in lawsuits?
I think for solutions in Florida, we need to have everyone sitting at the table. And that includes folks that are for tort reform, folks that are not, the consumers. We need consumer advocates at the table. We need legislators at the table from both sides of the aisle. And we need these insurance companies actually at the table. Things that we can do right now is we need to cap rate hikes. We need to ensure that insurance companies that are bailed out will actually cover consumers and not take our money and run. We need to put pressure on car insurance companies that are doing business in Florida to offer policies for the homes. And here in Florida, we have one rating agency, and it's so easy to enter the market. You know, for an insurance company to come to Florida, it takes about $15 million to do business. In our family business, I need to have 3 times more than that to be able to cover the risk of exposure. And the risk of exposure for my business is much less than the risk of exposure for homeowners insurance companies. We need to make sure that these companies have enough money and resource to cover a total loss. So that amount that we allow here in the state of Florida needs to be increased. And those are things that those are solutions that can actually happen. And we should get to work on them. We need people to go up there and actually be able to talk about that.
You mentioned your family business. You alluded earlier to prior conversations we've had about the need for healthcare reform and to do more with regard to that. That seems to, those two issues, your family business and healthcare, appear to be the attack line against you now. And I know that there are ads running on television and in flyers and on text messages, specifically saying that you profit by denying claims for health care through your company, through your private company, to seniors. That basically you are denying health care to seniors by denying their claims. How would you address that question?
So instead of my opponent coming out here and talking about what she can offer you, what solutions, any of that stuff, instead of being out here and talking about those things, she is out there attacking me with lies. And the reason is because she is completely unqualified for this seat. So my opponent's attack are completely false. They're actually fraudulent, and they are done with the intention to mislead this community, and they are purposely lying. And not only that, they know they are lying.
This campaign has gotten somewhat nasty in those attacks against you, your family, your business. They've included text messages that have been blasts sent out to potential voters accusing you of essentially denying health care to senior citizens, and have included your personal phone number in those text messages, correct?
Correct, but it wasn't just in those. She also included my phone number in a text message that incited violence. And for me, as the mother of two young girls, my children's safety is always going to be my #1 priority. And any mother or parent out there watching this right now knows exactly how I feel.
Now, I want to be specific. When you say incited violence, what do you mean by that?
She has sent out a text message that insinuates that I am a racist and that I have used children as target practice. And then she had in that message said, give Janelle the phone call and let her know how you feel. Now that resulted in phone calls that said, I'm going to kill you and your gay kids. I've received text messages that say, I'm going to kill you, or text messages that say, I will murder you and your family. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up for the lies. I signed up for, the dirty side of politics and, everything that happens. But my children, my home, this is sacred. This is the disgusting part of politics that turns people away and, quite frankly, scares women, minorities from running. And this just clearly goes to show that there are very clear differences in the values that I hold dearly compared to the values of my opponent.
Now, I want to be very clear here because I think it's important to be. Are the text messages from her campaign or from a PAC supporting her? You see what I'm saying? In other words, when you say that she is sending the text messages,
they're coming from her campaign and the Florida Republican Senate, the FRSCC, the Florida Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee. In the same way, like we all buy our 3-packs and things like that together, they're coming from the Florida Republican Party and they get approved by her. Any message, any text message that comes from my campaign with my name on it, I have approved from. Anything that says, Janelle Perez, I'm sending you this, is coming. I have read that and I have seen it.
Obviously, you're the candidate. You put yourself in this forum. You don't ask for this. You didn't expect this. But certainly your children weren't expecting this. Your significant other doesn't. Your wife doesn't. So what ends up, your parents, what's been the effect on them?
Well, it has been really hard. My wife is worried. We have protected our children from understanding. I mean, we have a 7-month-old and my 5-year-old doesn't really understand what's going on. We now had to hire somebody for security reasons because I take these threats very serious. So now, we've had to explain to my daughter that there's a police officer at home at night. And it's we try to keep it in a way that isn't alarming or to scare her. But she has noticed that there is a shift. My parents are coming around more often, which we love, which is fine with me because it's daycare, free daycare. But it has you know, this isn't what we signed up for. This is not what politics should be. And I am running to change that, because if you haven't noticed, I have not done those kinds of attacks on her. I have not been out there lying on about her. I have been out here talking to you, talking to the Floridians and the voters of Senate District 38, letting them know who I am, what are my values, what I stand for, and what I can do for you. And I'm doing this because I genuinely care about this community, because I'm a mother who knows that our children, every single one of them, not just mine, deserve so much better from our leaders and our elected officials. And I find this disgusting and disqualifying, and her silence just goes to show who she really is.
You actually used the fact that people were calling you as a result of her putting these text messages out there, and your phone number as part of it, as a way of trying to engage even those people who were calling to yell and scream at you, didn't you?
Absolutely. So my issue is not with voters having my phone number. I'm perfectly fine with that. My issue is that she was inciting violence as a result of that. But those phone calls, a lot of them, with the majority of them, we had incredible conversations. Voters who are angry, who are upset with these tactics, who are just not happy with the way that politics are. Like I said, people keep getting turned away because of these tactics. I have enjoyed every single conversation that I've had, with the exception of those outliers. But half of these people that started off screaming ended up saying, I'm going to vote for you. Thanks for being honest. And they have my phone number now. So when I am their state senator, they can give me a call.
We have invited her opponent, Alexis Calatayud, to come on the show. Hopefully we can talk to her soon. Up next, the Republican congressional candidate hoping to fill the seat left vacant by Ted Deutsch. We'll be right back.